We are gonna microneedle my stretch marks on my hips. Today we're going to be microneedling my hips. I have gotten so many comments over the years, ever since I put out my first microneedling video about microneedling stretch marks. Will you microneedle stretch marks? And honestly, I haven't ever focused on microneedling stretch marks only because, one, they're like usually on places on your body that you don't want to film. And two, I don't really have that many, so I wasn't sure if we were going to see any change. I don't know. Today we're gonna do it. We're gonna see, and I'm wearing a bathing suit so that we can actually do something but not be too revealing. So let's numb our skin and get into this. Okay, I'm gonna show you how we're gonna numb today. It's different than I've numbed before because I have that Plumon pen, which also my Premier pen would apparently do. We have the fractional tip on, and this is going to help get the numbing cream into my hips so that we can microneedle deep. So first you need to take your numbing cream, whatever you're using, and you need to get it on the area that you want to microneedle. Now we are going to take our fractional tip and we're just going to stab it in. It's going to be on continuous at level 5. Sorry, we're trying to figure out the best way to show this as I basically meat stamp my numbing cream into my hip. But you do this for 1 to 3 minutes, it says, and then we switch to the mushroom head and we coil that in. So this is like a stabbing motion, and this is supposed to just like help start infusing the cream into the area we're gonna microneedle. So now I'm gonna switch heads. You would do the same thing on the other side, but to save time, we're gonna switch heads. Stick that in. We'll turn it off while we're switching heads. That's probably the best idea. This is the mushroom head. This one is like smooth and it's gonna help get the material in. You get your little white collar thing on, you stick your mushroom head in, screw it down. This one is gonna move in a coiling motion. It's gonna be on continuous and we're gonna set it at 7. Then you put on your saran wrap. It will help numb it like 30 minutes faster. So normally it takes me about an hour to get numb. This time it might only take 30 minutes. I'll let you guys know. I'm gonna do the same thing to the other side and then we'll be back in 30 minutes. All right, so we're numbed up and we're gonna remove it. But before we take it off, I just wanted to explain to you kind of what we're gonna do, what I'm using. So we are throwing it back, you guys. We are using my Dr. Pen A1. I need to check like receipts or something, but I mean, I bought this guy like 6 or 7 years ago. He is my first, he's the OG. He goes to 3 millimeters, and that's really important when you're doing body skin. So we are using him today. My Illuma could have also worked for this, but I just thought a lot of people have this model and why not do it? We are using a 12-pin cartridge. If I had a 9-pin cartridge, I would have used that. The less pins in a cartridge, the more aggressive it's going to be for skin remodeling. Like a 36 is nice for skin rejuvenation, and then like a 9 or a 12 is perfect for scars and just trying to get the scar tissue broken up and remodeled, which is essentially what we're trying to do with a stretch mark. It is a scar, but the skin is actually pulled thin. So we're gonna microneedle it to help boost that skin and get it to grow. We are going to be using stem cells from Celtermi, and I will link to this below. And so we're gonna mix this up and microneedle with it, as well as I'm going to be putting on Retin-A. I wanna do Retin-A because I want my skin to turn over and grow. So I want to use both stem and Retin-A to achieve this. All right, let's remove the saran wrap and get going, and let's see if they're numb. Okay, we're gonna take my cover up off just to make life easier. I prefer to be in the cover up, but I do have a bathing suit on, and we're gonna obviously need to get into my hip area, so I'm gonna remove it. So we have our areas numbing, feels numb. We're gonna wipe it off. I just have a wet sponge. We'll start on this side. And we're just gonna wipe it off. I have never microneedled this area of my body. I have no idea what it's gonna feel like. At first I wasn't even going to numb, but then we did. So we'll see how that goes. And then this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna mix these up in my bowl so that they're ready. Okay, so you have your powder inside this, because this is the stem. Peel off the metal top. Do you see how that's the circle and then back here is like not perforated? So you pull the circle off and then it takes off the metal ring. If you try to do it the other way, you'll have to get pliers, it'll get stuck. And then you can put the lid back on. You can shake it up if you want, dissolve it together, and then I'm gonna put it in a little vessel. That's gonna make it easy for me to just brush it. Then we have our A1, our Dr. Pen A1 with our 12 cartridge. So you need to make sure that when you're loading a cartridge that your pen is at 0, and then you stick it in. You make sure that you lock it in place, and now you can turn it up to the desired level. I'm gonna put it at 2 to begin with to see like what that feels like and start warming up my body. This model has to be plugged in. Since we are doing deeper, we are going to be at a lower speed. So I'm gonna be at a 1 and see what that feels like. This upper area I actually didn't numb, I should have. I didn't realize that the stretch mark kind of started above where I realized. So I am microneedling without being numb right here on this one. I definitely think I can go deeper. And we're gonna put on more of our stem. I have little pin pricks on my side, I can see them. And this time we're gonna go up to a 3, and then we'll be on a 1 again. So now at a 3, I might only be able to stab. I don't know, we'll see if I can move it. Okay, it's kind of gliding. But I am on that stretch mark, gonna like push it in. I think that I did kind of a good job of getting that pricked up. Let's get some more stem cell on it, and then we're gonna rub in our Retin-A, but definitely there's bleeding. And besides just wanting to treat this stretch mark, it's going to help tighten my skin in this area. I mean, if you're really flexible, you could probably treat, you know, everything and get tighter, like a tighter like hip glute area, which maybe I'll do privately. I'm using the tretinoin 1%, but this is in the gel form. My preference is 1% cream for Retin-A, but the gel is easier to find. So I reserve the cream for my face and I use the gel on my body. And I'm gonna microneedle it in as well. And again, like in the one main stretch mark I want to treat, I'm just like kind of stabbing into it too. I'm just gonna rub in more Retin-A gel on it. You can see that it's kind of like bleeding and it's totally fine. I'm just going to rub that in. The blood here is good, so I'm not gonna wipe it off. I just want it to all work and do its thing, tightening the skin and rebuilding. Good thing I wore a red suit.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't even think about that, but you know, if I'm gonna be bleeding. Okay, so we're just gonna do the same identical thing to this side now. We're just gonna pull off our plastic wrap. I'm gonna take a sponge and just like wipe off any numbing cream. Yeah, I didn't even realize how bad this one is, but we did get a good picture of it. It's like silvery. I don't know, it's probably when I was pregnant with Emmett and nearly got to 200 pounds because I would eat 2-foot-longs Subway sandwiches a day. We have our stem cell, and now I'm gonna be using my left hand to try to do things, so this will be interesting. I'm just brushing this everywhere, and we'll start at a 2 and add a 1 also, and we're just gonna warm our skin up again. Put on more stem, and we're gonna bump it up to a 3. So when you're at a 3 millimeter, they consider that medical grade microneedling, which is why I think a lot of microneedling pens no longer go to a 3 millimeter, which is why if you can get your hands on a Dr. A1, you have that option. Most of the time, like always, I'm never going to a 3, but if you're buying a doctor pen to work on body areas like this maybe, then maybe a pen that goes to a 3 millimeter is right for you. But on your face, you're really never gonna use a 3. I never use a 3 on my face. I think the deepest I've ever gone was 2.5, and that was probably even too deep. My face probably really didn't need that. And we're gonna brush on some more stem. Get that all mixed in there. Do a couple more passes, and then we'll put on the Retin-A. I love when the blood mixes with the serum I'm using and creates the slip as well, because the blood is so good for the skin. It has curing and healing properties in it. And so that's the reason people like PRP. Don't be afraid when the blood starts acting like a slip as well. Okay, so now we're gonna put on our Retin-A. Rub that in. And then we'll microneedle it in as well. Again, at a 3 millimeter depth and at a 1 speed. Okay, and now that is done. I didn't use up all my stem. So for instance, if I was also microneedling somewhere else, my face, or like maybe you wanted to do like the tops of your thighs or something, you probably have, you have enough maybe for your face. You would need a second bottle if you were gonna do the tops of your thighs for sure. Or if you wanna treat like your whole backside, then I think 1 bottle would be enough. Okay, so last week I made myself a green tea spritzer, and it like has like rooibos in it, and then I decided to make some ice cubes too, and I was just gonna spray this on myself, and then I was like, well, where are those ice cubes? And I was like, oh yeah. So I think because they do hurt, like my hips feel kind of they feel sore, and so I thought a good idea was use these ice cubes that I made. If I can get them out of my weird container that I bought. Okay, so here are our green tea and green rooibos ice cubes. I'm going to rub this on just to make it feel more comfortable. And then I'm going to go into my red light. Oh, look at it. It's like totally melting, especially on a day when it's like 105 degrees. Okay, so we just need like half on one side. And if you don't know, there are studies now about green tea and red light being more effective together. So because I have this light, which is awesome, I can stick my hips under it. So we're gonna get green tea on, and then I'm gonna go stick myself under the red light and see how that heals up and how it feels. Okay, you guys, you're awesome for joining me for this. If you were requesting a microneedling on stretch marks, I hope that this gave you some insight or just like inspired you to get out your pen or your ruler or whatever you have and go to town. I will show you in a few days a picture of what it looks like, and we'll see together if we notice anything majorly different. I just decided that we should just get out the vlog camera and show this really quick. This is a few hours after we did the microneedling on my hips. And the thing that I'm noticing is that where the stretch mark is, it's actually like up. There's actually like a lift in the scar, and you can actually see where I didn't get the scar and how it's still indented. So the microneedling actually caused the skin to boost on the scar. All right, so it's been 1 week since we microneedled my hips and kind of worked on the stretch marks. And although the areas are still red, I want to show you, just for journaling purposes, what it's looking like 1 week out. I don't know, I think it looks good. I think it looks okay. Also, I have no idea why I have a lot of bruises on myself. I think it has to do with a mixture of Excedrin and Red Bull. So just keep that in mind. I don't know how much you can see or pick up. We'll do some closer pictures. Basically, I microneedled this whole area and it like flaked off and peeled, and I kept putting Retin-A on it and it just kept peeling. And then also I've been putting that CoQ10 cream on it as well. It's still a little bit red, but this was one of my main stretch marks, and really I only microneedled up to this point in it, and then so this top part isn't microneedled, but this part is. So we're gonna be able to really see in a few weeks like how much difference it made there. On the other side, I don't know what's going on with all these bruises. This one got fully microneedled, and I can feel, even though it feels thinner, in between, like around it feels like boosted. So I think it's like trying to get more skin tissue built in it. So hopefully it needs time. Collagen induction therapy, which is microneedling, just takes time. So even if I showed it completely healed and not even red anymore, it would still maybe not have the skin density that you're looking for, because that's gonna take months of this treatment, what we just did, triggering more growth. So we should do this a few more times and document it, so that hopefully like after 3 sessions, maybe spaced like 2 months apart each, we'll have some good idea on microneedling stretch marks on the hips. But I appreciate you guys so much for joining me, and I just get so inspired when I see your comments and you join me for premieres. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.